Hi everyone. Depending on whichever part of the world you are in, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. We'd probably give it a few minutes for our filmmakers to join, and then we'll get started with our discussion. So while we wait for the filmmakers to join, my name is Justin. I'm a quadriplegic myself, which is why one of the reasons why I'm hosting Let's Include section, as I understand what inclusion means, and I realize the importance of inclusion. I'm a person with a spinal cord injury, and I'm also a sports person, having represented India at the World Championships and Asian Games in swimming, and I also do rifle shooting. I work for Cognizant in a full-time role as well. So that's about me, and I'd be moderating, this Let's Include section today, tomorrow, and day after. Uh, so while we wait for the filmmakers, you know, uh, the festival is on till 16th August, and join us, watch the movies that have been submitted for the event, and also you have an option of donating when you go to the website. Proceeds of the donation goes to the filmmakers, and BISFF has partnered with a charitable organization called Vidya Niketan. So part of the proceeds goes there as well. So make use of it, visit the website, check out what is happening, what is the schedule looks like, what are the different submissions across different categories, and keep yourself busy. So while we wait for the filmmakers, in today's discussion, we have five short films to talk about. Um, One is 180 Degrees by Mohammed Kauzi. Um, the other one is My Lady of the Camellia by Edward. Then we have another short film for today's discussion, Blind, which expands to Born to Live in Near Darkness by Sid. We also have another short film called Blind Faith by Jackie Dullhouse. And we also have Touch by Salvo and Filippo lined up for today's discussion. I think while we wait for the filmmakers, uh, any viewers who are watching this, if you want to put any questions for me, anything related to inclusion, diversity, equity, or any topic around disability, uh, feel free to post those questions, and I'd be happy to answer. Honestly, we got to uh, keep doing that as a filler, right? Until we wait for the filmmakers to join. If nobody's joining today, though, it's all about myself. So feel free to ask your questions. If the viewers are not going to ask any questions, I think the BISF team can probably post some questions to keep it going. Okay, somebody's dropped a message saying you're an inspiration. Well, okay, I don't necessarily see it that way, and usually I cringe when I see the word inspiration. But that said, thanks for the comment, though. Okay, there is another comment. We would love to hear you speak more. Okay, so one of the pertinent introductions that I can give for myself, especially as I advocate about inclusion at different workplaces in the community, in the society, is I have an acquired disability. I picked up a spinal cord injury 10 years back, so I understand as a person without disability the things that we take for granted, and in the last 10 years, what it feels like to have a disability, and what as a person without disability, a lot of things that we take for granted, and we don't even have to ask for it when it comes to either if you have a disability or you're marginalized. It sometimes to fight for that inclusion, it feels like what has to naturally be there as part of your ecosystem. I think that feels often denied, right? Which is one of the reasons why there is a lot of conversations going around diversity, inclusion, and equity, both at workplace and in the community. And I'm pretty sure that's the reason why BISFF, Bangalore International Short Film Festival, they have this particular section on inclusion. So we have around 16 finalists, and the way we structured this was today to have five filmmakers. I do not know the reasons why they couldn't join, but we and although there were confirmations, but we'll also have discussions with five more tomorrow and six day after tomorrow. So if nobody joins today, then we'd probably we'll have to call it off and continue this conversation tomorrow and day after as well. But having seen these submissions and movies, pretty interesting, I'd say. So if you have the opportunity to go to the website and look at the screening, I'm sure you'd uh, beyond engaging. It'll be eye opening, right? It'll be a revelation of sorts to understand what really inclusion means, why it is important in the society, and to also get the perspective of others, either a person with a disability or somebody who's part of their family, and how it feels being in a society which is otherwise, still not warming up to the concept of inclusion, right? So I'd probably give it another 30 seconds to a minute, and if the filmmakers aren't joining, then we'll call it off. Um, or unless, yeah, if there are any other questions. Right. How has the situation changed over the years that you can think of, and what are the things that should still improve? So I'm going to divide this into two aspects, right? One from workplace, corporate side, and other from community side. Um, so in the last 2 to 3 years, there's been a lot of conversation going around inclusion. 10 years back, people were still only warming up to diversity. And when I say diversity, it was more in terms of gender diversity. While that is also part of inclusion, but it was primarily focusing on gender diversity. But in the last 3 years or so, we are also seeing, inclusion from a disability standpoint, inclusion from LGBTQ community standpoint. There are a lot of meaningful conversations going on. And it's more so happening faster in the corporate side, in the workplace side. However, from a society standpoint, overall society standpoint, not much has moved forward. From an Indian standpoint, yes, we had the Rights for Persons with Disability Act enabled a couple of years back. However, we'd like, everybody following it to the spirit, and not only for, from a legislation standpoint. Um, we could keep going on in terms of what are the challenges, right? Infrastructure challenge, technology barriers, architectural barriers, financial barriers, and all that stuff. But primarily, if you ask me, where does this all stem from? Is attitudinal barrier. Um, you know, uh, I think it's important to change that attitudinal barrier, and if that happens, a lot of things keep changing. So I think that's the key, to change the attitude and the way we look at it. And since we are in a film festival, and in that kind of a mode, you know uh, I remember these X Files series. If you're from the 90s generation, 80s generation, I'm pretty sure you would have watched those series. And I think it's in the second season, episode 3 or something like that, where the lead characters, keep talking to each other, and then all of a sudden, this guy says to the lady lead role player, I wish I was a person born with a disability, right? Now she's completely surprised. I'm like, why would you say something like that? And then, so this is, your late 90s mainstream series, even in the US, right? To give you a perspective. So she's like, why would you even say something like that? And for that, he responds saying that, if I was a person with a disability, then it's enough for me to wake up every day and just do my regular job and still be called a hero, right? If you just think through what I said, it'll probably open a lot of realizations for people with people who are marginalized, or people with disability, or people who have any other condition. The society's standard is only that, right? Abysmally low. If you perform your day-to-day activities and do the regular things, it'd still be called a hero. It's good to encourage them. However, that's not just inclusion. Inclusion is to treat them right, in the same way that you treat anybody else, irrespective of whether they have a disability or not. Inclusion is not just tolerance, towards a person, however they are, but it is unquestioned acceptance, and that acceptance as equal to anybody else. And I think that's true inclusion. I think on that note, we can call it a wrap today. I hope whatever I said makes sense, and there are some realizations that are happening in terms of inclusion. But I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow, same time, 10:30. where we again have confirmed filmmakers, at least four filmmakers who have confirmed to join the conversation. And I hope to make that much more meaningful than today. Thank you so much, and good night, everyone.